you, Lonnie. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ron. Wow. I feel like I need a cigarette. Okay. That was beautiful. Thank you. That was just beautiful. I'm very grateful. So, are you ready to be free? Good, good. Let's repeat our treatment for freedom together aloud. I speak my word for myself, my center, and all its members and friends. I know love as the only reality. I am created out of love. Love is what I am. I know this love as absolute freedom in every area of my life, the life of my center, and all who call it home. I know our center's mortgages are paid in full, and I claim for all of us financial freedom with all debts paid and cleared. I release any sense of struggle or wrongdoing. I live in an abundant universe where there is more than enough for all. We experience freedom in every moment by always having more than enough money, vibrant health, and loving relationships. We are who we have come here to be. With hearts open wide, we see the world through the eyes of love. We are blessed, we are rich, and we are free. And so it is. And we use our points of power. I always pay attention. I always tell the truth and tell it quickly. I always ask for what I want when I want it. I always take total responsibility for my experience. I always keep my agreements. And so it is. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So, Kristen, I'm going to ask you just to take the stage lights down a little bit so that I can see people's faces, because that's very helpful to me. I heard the reports about Hurricane Matthew sporadically this week. I flew out to Denver to meet John for our 27th wedding anniversary. And I flew back in yesterday, and during that time I would turn on the television because I was born and raised in Miami, and I've been through a number of hurricanes, and I was interested. And one thing that I heard over and over and over again was, we have lost power. Power is gone. Everybody's in the dark. The power is out. We do not get our power from the electric company. We get electricity from the electric company. And we do not lose power. But I thought, but we sure can give it away. We sure can turn it over to someone. Here we are, these amazing spiritual beings of light and love with powers far beyond our imagination, come to earth to experience more of this. And we take all of this power to create our lives, to have peace on earth, to have love never fail. We take all of this power, and sometimes, not everybody, sometimes we take that, and rather than creating health and prosperity and joy and love, we give it away. And we know when we have given our power away because we feel depleted. We feel empty. We feel afraid. We feel worried. We feel confused. We feel like it's all just too much for us. Nothing is too much for us. We are God beings alive and well on planet Earth. It is our job to manifest the best life ever. It is our job to create form in our life that uplifts us and everybody else. And if we feel like we cannot do that, it's because we have taken this huge amount of power. That's what we are. We're not physical beings. We're these beings of vibration and light and energy. And we've taken all of that and we've gotten rid of it. It reminds me of Marianne Williamson, who said that we are not afraid of our darkness. We are afraid of our light. We are afraid of our power. We are afraid of the best of us. And so sometimes when we are living our lives, and for some reason, we don't need to psychoanalyze everybody, for some reason we feel like we shouldn't be this amazing God being, spirit being of light and love and power, we get rid of our power. And we orchestrate it so amazingly. Do you know that there are 7.5 billion people in the world? And yet, who might someone who's getting rid of their power fall in love with? I've done it. I've done it over and over and over again until I did a huge amount of work on myself, and then I could be in relationship with John. But I would pick someone who was going to set the stage for me to feel belittled, to be little, to hold back, to feel like my life was out of my control, to demonstrate poverty. I would pick someone out of the whole 7.5 billion choices. I would pick somebody so I could give them my power. And the fascinating thing is that after I would give them my power, I would give it all to them and say, oh, please don't hurt me. Guess what they did? They hurt me because I set them up, because I gave my power away. And then being powerless, feeling like a victim, feeling helpless and hopeless, the only thing that I could demonstrate out of this perfectly fine person that I took and totally screwed up. And I know that because they went to other people and they were perfectly fine again. Who are you? And why didn't I get that version of you? Well, I didn't get that version of them because I created the version of them that I needed. So I would take this neutral person and I would give them all of this power that I have, because frankly, being Barbara Waterhouse is a lot, and it scared me for a long time until I realized I was better off being afraid and standing in my power than being afraid and standing in my weakness. So I would give them all of this power, say, now be nice to me, uplift me, support me, nurture me, encourage me, do all that great stuff, which they could not do because I didn't have it in me to give back to me. All people in relationships do are give back to each other what the other person is. So I would get back being made small, being made wrong, being limited, living in lack and struggle, because that's what I had in me. Except I did that. I set it all up, and I would divorce them. All of them. I would divorce them and I would run away, and I would think that everything was going to get better, and it wouldn't, because I was still me, until I realized that I had to stop giving my power away. I had to stop it. And I started realizing, because I love power, I love the experience of being able to stand tall and create my life. I think that maybe you do too, even though it scares you, I understand, but I love that experience. I love the experience of someone saying no and me going yes and watching it happen. Don't you love that? Whoever it is, the economy, the people that you're working with, people down the road, they say, oh, you can't do that. You can't be a powerful spiritual being. You think you're God? What are you, nuts? No, I think you're God too. I'm frankly the sanest one of us here. So I love the idea of power, and as I began to embrace it, it felt better and better, and I noticed more all the ways that I gave my power away. The easiest one was to look at significant relationships and how I felt the same even in different relationships. This is a clue. If you feel the same in different relationships, even though you have a different person, you are repeating a pattern. And if that pattern has you feeling small, powerless, inconsequential, unable, you are giving your power away. If you feel the same in every job you've ever had, they don't respect me, I don't get to do what I want, I'm having to work just to pay the rent, to eat the food, to go to sleep, to wake up, to go to work. It's a vicious cycle. No, that's you. That's you. If you feel the same with every bank account, even though you close them down and go to a different bank and open up a new one as if that's going to help, it's you. And so in beginning to embrace my power, I just felt great. I just loved it. Having played the role of being powerless all my life, to be able to stand up and be strong was such a rush that I noticed it even more when that didn't happen. When I felt myself down in the muck again, when I felt myself not being able to financially support myself enough to where I could eat, when I felt myself beating my head against the wall again, saying, there's got to be more in life than this, it was so crystal clear to me the difference between me standing strong and saying, I know who I am, I can have the life that I want, and me falling flat on my face, crying, bemoaning my fate, saying it'll never work. I don't know if you've ever gone through those two things. At some point between standing strong and tall and being down in the mud, I gave my power away. It's so tempting. You do it by criticizing. You do it by complaining. You do it by running the same story over and over in your head that has you end up being small. It's so tempting. If we point out something small in someone else, we are going to experience that and live it. You can't point one finger without 3 of them coming back at you. So whenever I look at politics, whenever I look at other people that don't think the way that I do, and I very spiritually, superiorly judge them for being less aware than me, I'm screwed. Because I'm going to have to live that. I'm going to have to demonstrate it unless I can get my head screwed on right quick enough before it shows up in physical form. I'm going to have to live that. And so if I don't want to live that judgment, then I can't indulge in it. I can't indulge in complaining. Wow. I don't know about you, but I'm a complainer. And I've been working on this for decades. I mean, I've known Edwina Gaines for 40 years. And she always says the same thing. Don't complain. And still, I complain. And when I complain, I don't get to go, wah! And if I'm not going like that, it's because I did that. I gave my power away. One of the things that I am learning, is that power isn't power over. And sometimes when we come into this teaching and we learn how to manifest our reality, we can have power over our lives. And that's a fine step, but that's not the end-all, be-all place we want to be. If you create a problem and you want to fix it, you can use spiritual mind treatment, affirmations, focusing on what you think and believe to shift that energy and to fix the problem. The only problem with that is that you created a problem in the first place. So what we want to do is we want to get to where we are living a life that is not fraught with problems, where it's not dramatic of going ups and downs and oh my gosh, it's down, we've got to fix it, down, fix it, down. We don't want it to be completely still because that could mean we're dead. But we want the modulations to be smoother. And to do that, I realize that I have to trust that my power is here, even if I am not exerting it over something. Now, I used to have to exert it over people. People had to do what I wanted them to do for me to feel comfortable. instead of me just trusting that everything is unfolding in divine harmony, because I know who I am, and I know that everything unfolds for my highest and best. And so if it's happening, there's a blessing in here and there's good for it, and that's all there is to it. And I will trust that as a powerful, creative, spiritual being, alive and well on planet Earth, my world is unfolding perfectly without me having to micromanage the universe. So we had a hurricane. Now, those of you who have heard John speak over the last few months know that we bought a boat. And it has not always been pretty. No. So there were some basic things. This is my third boat. There's some basic things that I didn't think about when we bought the boat. One was that I'm not 20 anymore. The first boat I had, I was 20, and it was easy. Boy, I just bounced around that boat, pulled up motors, pushed it places. It was fine. The second boat I had, I was 30. And it was a much bigger boat because I was a religious science minister and I could afford it. So it was a nice bigger boat that had a lot of bells and whistles. This boat is a fun boat. Goes in 5.5 inches of water. It goes where I want to go to fish where I want to fish. Except I didn't realize it was going to be so physically demanding. So the last time we were down there, I said, okay, that's it. I am bringing this boat back to North Carolina. The first thing I'm going to do is put a hydraulic lift on the back so that I push a button and the motor goes up. None of this reaching over into the mud with legs kicking up. Trying to pull it up. We're going to push a button, the motor's going to go up. And there were some other little tweaky things that I wanted to do. So we pulled the boat up to Asheville. There was a hurricane right where the boat used to be stored with 107-mile-an-hour winds. It's a little boat. It's called a micro skiff. It would have been picked up and thrown like a javelin, never to be seen again or to be found in pieces. When I got intuitively that I should bring the boat back home, it was not a sensible idea. It wasn't. It didn't make sense. You're going to drag that boat all the way up to North Carolina? The first thing I had to do was put new tires on it. It was not used to traveling. Had to drag it all the way up here, but I said, no. We're supposed to bring it back. And I thought, for my rational mind, to have something to hold on to, well, I had to put that hydraulic thing on it, and I don't like to use beach time to take it to boat repair places, which are everywhere down there. Here, not so much. But this is what we should do. We should bring it back. And I was adamant about it, and John acquiesced because we're dragging the boat back up. I mean, that means I can't speed. It's a 10-hour drive if I can. It was a long drive coming back. So what I realized as I saw the hurricane hit dead on Cape Canaveral, which is where my boat was, that I was being guided. And that if I will trust my intuition and act on it, even though it may seem like it's foolish, then I have what I want to have without having to have power over the situation. And so there's a book out called Power versus Force. And when I say don't give away your power, this is your God-given life, prana, your chi, the energy that keeps you alive, and it is power. And you can use that to create a life that is filled with blessings and love and joy. You can give it away and say, I don't deserve to be a powerful, happy being, so I'm going to give you control of my life. I'm going to hope everything works out for the best, but given my past history, I know it won't. And then I can feel bad, because what happens when we're not connected with who we are? We feel bad. And so if we're feeling bad, consider that you've given your power away, that you are not fully embracing the God being that you are, that you have the ability to create anything you want. You have the ability to change any circumstance that you want to change, and it doesn't mean that you have to make it happen or force it. It is your inherent nature to manifest every second of your life. What I'm interested in for us as a group, to go beyond creating money so that we don't get evicted, to go beyond trying to find the car because ours blew up, to go beyond that level of creation and step more fully into this idea that says truly the entire universe, all of life supports us in living the best life ever. And that it is our job to stay mindful, to stay aware, but we don't have to do all the work of it. Things can show up. Serendipity, synchronicity, intuition can show up and support us in having this amazing life if we trust, if we are willing to shine brightly, if we are willing to be big, if we are willing to be powerful, then all of life can only say yes. And so it is.